Ladies and gentlemen, I am finally back from my adventures in the United States of America, and I am back home in jolly old England. Yeah! But fear not, my capitalist American chums. I have one final episode of Handhelds Around the World in which I shot in the USA a few weeks ago, still set to air on my channel. So join me for that very shortly. Anyway, today on the other hand is another glorious pickup video. I had many doubters on my Twitter feed, on my Facebook, in my comment section of the videos, all telling me that no way could I get all the games I've bought through customs. However, I have proved each and every one of my doubters wrong. As you can see, here is every single one of my purchases right here on my table in England. So, essentially, I ride up to customs. I have a big massive suitcase, I've got a backpack on my back, and I've got hand luggage to pull along as well. And I went through without even a hitch. All what happened really is I got a big heavy sticker stuck on my case, and essentially the man who was running it said I was a very naughty man and not to bring so much overweight luggage again. Personally, I intended to bring overweight luggage the entire time and was just expecting to pay basically $100 or something like that in excess baggage, but no, he didn't realise that, so he just told me off for bringing too much. Yeah. Anyway, just before I got home, I popped over to Game, which is the British equivalent, I suppose, of Game Station. The reason being, there was a few PAL games I wanted to purchase, and also some heavy things I would have liked to buy in America, which I knew I could just buy at home, so I might as well buy them at home. So here's the stuff I got from Game, before I show you any of the new stuff here. Right, I got Final Fantasy 15 Deluxe Edition, which I want to try out, and the bloody hardback strategy guide for that too, so I look forward to that. Also, Mighty Bloody Number 9. According to many people, it's not that good, but often I find many people are wrong, so I would like to try it out for myself. It only cost me £15, so I might as well give it a go. And Pokemon Sun and Moon. After all, we all live in a Pokemon world. You have to play the new Pokemon games, don't you? It wouldn't be right not to. So purchasing all this cost me £185 bloody pounds. I'll tell you, I was a very sad man walking out of that shop, having to spend so much on modern games. However, I quickly cheered up, because as soon as I got back to this house, I ominously looked through my 3 months of post, and within it I found a tax rebate, where I've not been working for the last few months, and on top of that, I also found a grovelling letter from British Gas, basically giving me a refund for a load of money they owed me as well. So essentially, I spent all that money, however, it didn't really cost me a penny, as I had these bloody checks in my post. It was amazing. Anyway, so now let's get on to this big massive pile of stuff. So let's start with the books. This was the very first actual purchase I made of the trip. I actually got it in Gatwick Airport, Retro Gamer magazine. For some reason, everywhere around the UK, it's very easy to buy retro games magazines. However, hardly anywhere sells bloody retro games. So you can read about bloody retro games, but you can't really purchase them. Anyway, it's got Streets of Rage 2 on the front. What's next? More, I found a Final Fantasy 4 strategy guide. Final Fantasy 3 strategy guide. Final Fantasy 1 and 2 strategy guide, see the theme. A guidebook for RPG Maker 2, which was one of my PS2 purchases. Xenosaga Episode 1, the strategy guide. On a previous trip to the States, I picked up the 3 Xenosaga games. Castlevania Portrait of Ruin, you've got to love that game. Wild Arms Altered Code F. Zelda Twilight Princess. So, that's my new strategy guides. You don't get nowhere near as many here in Europe, unfortunately. So it's fantastic to see so many at such cheap prices over in the States. So, what else did I get? I've now extended my Virtual Boy collection up to 10 games. The 2 new purchases I have is Mario Clash and V Tetris as well, which is a Japan exclusive. It also came boxed, this one. I love RPGs, as you know, so I'm going to Thailand next month. So I decided I would pick up Persona 4 Golden to play on the long 12-hour flight. That should be bloody fun. Speaking of JRPGs, I also picked up this nice copy of Luna Complete. Again, this is a game that was never released in the UK, like a lot of bloody RPGs, unfortunately. What else? Nintendo 64. Let's see what I got. Mega Man 64. Again, never released in the UK, however Mega Man Legends was on the PS1, which I believe is the same game. And Mortal Kombat Sub-Zero. This cost me absolute pennies. Although apparently this was not very good, but you may ask me why I bought it. It's because if I was to buy a PAL copy of this game, it would cost a bloody fortune, a few £100, if I remember correctly. Some SNES as well, Super Nintendo, as some of you like to call it. I got Breath of Fire, another bloody JRPG, never released in Europe, and X-Zone. Why X-Zone, you may ask? That's a really obscure one, isn't it? Well, again, this one cost me $20, but an interesting fact, for some bloody reason, a PAL copy of X-Zone can cost up to £1,000. Ludicrous, isn't it? I suppose it's one of those games that must have been made in very low quantities, but you get all those bizarre, like, completionist collectors that have to have full sets of everything, so they waste their money on tap like this. However, I only got it for $20. Yeah! What else? Okay, let's go to NES, since that's basically the America system. I'll just go through the new ones. Okay, what have I got here? WCW Wrestling. The last NES wrestling game was missing from my collection, so now I have every wrestling game on the NES. Turtles 3 Manhattan Project. Again, this is a Turtles game that missed the European release. Mighty Bomber Jack. Again, no European release. Dragon Spirit. I don't even know what that bloody is, but it looks JRPG-y, perhaps. So there's a good chance it wasn't released at home either. King's Knight. Definitely not released here. King's Knight is the first game, as far as I'm aware, released by Square on the NES. I bought Xenophobe, as it reminds me of racists, and Xevious, as it reminds me of Xenophobe. So that's the new NES games I got. Let's see if there's anything else I've not skimmed over. Ah yes, PlayStation 2. Let's have a look. New ones. Not that many actually. First of all, Unlimited Saga, which looks to be another Square JRPG. You can see the theme here. RPG Makers 2 and 3. On my previous trip to the United States, I bought the first one in the series, so now I have all three, none of which were released in Europe. And last but not least, Metal Saga. Again, don't have a clue what it is, but it was released by Atlas, meaning it probably wasn't released here. Well, I hope you all enjoyed today's video, and if you enjoy what you see, then subscribe to this channel. I will be continuing on my great adventures around the globe. Cheerio!